A very good evening to you. It's great to be with you on this Monday night. So much lined up for you, and it's just the beginning of the week. These are among the top stories on NTV Tonight. Tonight, more cheers.
The BBI process is nothing but the spoils, politics and self-preservation.
And more jeers for the BBI ruling.
In the course of this week, we shall be launching an appeal in the Court of Appeal.
And a detailed look at the government's case for the BBI.
In the process of trying to get rid of BBI, they did not understand how grave a decision they had just made.
Also tonight,
I wish to plead, Mr. Speaker, with the Senate to be sympathetic and should not just be, impeach me.
The Senate, after according the Honorable Mohammed Habdi Mohamud, the Governor of Wajir County, an opportunity to be had, resolves to impeach the Governor of Wajir County.
The Senate committee sealed Wajir Governor Mohammed Abdi's fate, but the House wins. Plus, a high-stakes legal battle.
Cannabis sativa, which is the marijuana, should be allowed for cultural, spiritual and medicinal use.
The Rastafarians want to be allowed to smoke marijuana to connect with the maker. Also tonight, the fragmented capital. Nairobi wears two faces.
NTV Tonight with Smriti Vidyarthi.
And I'm not alone in sign language interpretation tonight. It is Flora Atieno. And the Senate is currently voting on a report recommending the impeachment of Wajir Governor Mohammed Abdi Mohammed that will seal his fate. The Senate committee that tried him found him guilty of one charge of gross violation of the Constitution by flouting the County Government Act, the Public Procurement Act and Asset Disposal Act and the Public Finance Management Act that specifically touched on the healthcare system in the county. The committee, however, absolved the governor from abuse of office and gross misconduct charges, saying the members of the County Assembly did not provide sufficient evidence. Let's just listen in to the Senate proceedings.
Senator Kajwang Moses Otieno, Homabay County. Senator Kanata Ilungu, Murang'a County. Senator Igita Susan Makarura, Nakuru County. Senator Langat Christopher Andrew, Bomet County. Senator Rebecca Investi, Samburu County.
All right, the ongoing Senate proceedings there, and we will be keeping you updated on that story about the impeachment of the Wajir governor. Elsewhere, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission says it will also appeal a decision by the High Court that said it was not properly constituted, noting that there exists another ruling that is contrary of that view. This comes as ODM leader Raila Odinga's lawyer, Paul Mwangi, says he will file an appeal on Wednesday to challenge the High Court decision, including the verdict that President Uhuru Kenyatta was the promoter of the BBI bill. NTV senior political affairs reporter Kennedy Mureithi has those details.
For the better part of Monday, lawyer Paul Mwangi and a team of legal officers at his law firm sifted through thousands of documents he is putting together to aid in his case appealing a ruling by 5 High Court judges that put brakes on the BBI train. Mwangi says he's already put in an official notice to appeal the ruling.
We also have received a certified copy of the judgment that the court issued. We are waiting now to get certified copies of the proceedings of the court, and we are also waiting to get a copy of the decree. These are primary documents that you must take to the Court of Appeal when you are lodging your appeal.
Mwangi says one of the low-hanging fruits they will tackle is the evidence they have come across that President Uhuru Kenyatta was not the promoter of the BBI bill, arguing the judgment was fundamentally flawed.
As we are going through the documentation now for appeal, we have a letter here that was written by Chebukati himself when he was transmitting the bill to the speakers of the county assembly. And in his letter, Chebukati was very clear that he has received a draft bill to amend the constitution by popular initiative under Article 257. And he said that the said initiative is promoted by Honorable Dennis Orero and Juliet Mohammed.
The councils representing the state and Raila Odinga will be seeking to prove that the ruling by the 5-judge bench was more political than it relied on merit, insisting that the mistakes are too glaring.
One gets a feeling of a decision, people who had already decided what they want, and they are working their way backwards to justify a finding that they have already reached. Because if they were starting from the facts, then they would not get there.
The Attorney General's office is also putting together a petition to challenge the ruling through Solicitor General Kennedy Ogeto, who has already given a notice of appeal. Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Chairperson Wafula Chebukati, who was on a tour of Juja constituency to survey the preparedness for Tuesday's by-election, also says the commission is finalizing an appeal that will be lodged before the end of the week to challenge the ruling that indicated they were not properly constituted.
Sometimes in 2019, the High Court, presided over by Justice Okwanyi, made a determination that Article 250 of the Constitution is what applies to the Commission. Article 250 applies to all constitutional commissions and independent commissions, and it states clearly that you should have a minimum of 3 commissioners and a maximum of 9.
The IEBC position is that the ruling by the 5-judge bench does not hold any water.
What we are saying as a commission is that there are 2 conflicting judgments, and it's only a court of appeal which should be able to throw light as to which judgment in law should suffice for purpose of the commission.
Promoters of the BBI bill insist they are within the appropriate timelines and are also considering having the referendum alongside the 2022 elections. Kennedy Muredhi, NTV.
Well, the Linda Katiba movement has commended the High Court judgment on the Building Bridges initiative, saying that it has restored political sanity and the rule of law. The movement is now calling on President Uhuru Kenyatta to abide by the court ruling. Naoma Sampao reports.
The Linda Katiba movement, which has been urging Kenyans to reject the Building Bridges Initiative bill, says that the High Court did what was required of them by safeguarding the Constitution of Kenya from those they say are pursuing their personal interests. The movement, whose key members were the main petitioners, says that the judgment has asserted judicial authority. They now want President Uhuru Kenyatta to ignore calls by other political players to pursue the initiative.
The President and his administration to internalize this judgment, because so far all we are getting are knee-jerk reactions. To internalize this judgment and see that it is good for the country. It reminds us of the path of transformation set by our 2010 Constitution.
The movement has also criticized politicians who have been attacking the 5 judges who delivered the BBI judgment, terming their attacks as retrogressive and barbaric. They also want the relevant state authorities to take action against those found to have faulted the constitution.
All state and public officers who violated the constitution and the law and used taxpayers' money to promote BBI should immediately be sacked, prosecuted and surcharged. This includes members of parliament who are constitutionally state officers.
This comes as the National Council of Churches of Kenya is urging for dialogue between the executive and the judiciary to contain the growing differences.
They need to sit together and agree on the way forward. Dialogue will always prevail. We are where we are because of dialogue. If dialogue was there, if a decision was made early, if people will see what was happening, we will not be where we are.
Nayoma Sampao, NTV.
All right, more on the BBI later on in this broadcast as I interview the Secretary General of the Jubilee Party. More on that in just a moment. First, though, a check of the coronavirus situation in the country. 72 more people have tested positive for the disease, raising the total number of infections up to 165,537. This is out of a sample size of 2,056 tested in the last 24 hours, and that now puts the positivity rate at 3.5%. There have been 10 more deaths in the same time frame, 3 of them occurring in the last month, and 7 were late death reports. The total number of people who have died now from COVID-19 related illnesses stands at 3,013. All right, well, to better news, 262 more people have recovered from the virus, raising the total number of recoveries up to 113,874. But there are 1,036 people admitted in health facilities countrywide, with 108 of them in intensive care. We wish all those a speedy recovery. All right, elsewhere now, and if you take a stroll down many streets of Nairobi's CBD, such as Kenyatta Avenue perhaps, the nearly perfect aesthetic of the roads and pavements is easily noticeable. But it doesn't look like this in many other parts of the capital, despite promises by the government of a makeover by the Nairobi Metropolitan Services in particular. Gina Kirori has the 2 faces of Nairobi.
The smooth carpet of cabro and tarmac is a luxury enjoyed by many within Nairobi's CBD. But in a different part of Nairobi, it's a different tale altogether.
While they are tenants of the same city, these 2 areas could not be more different. This fragmented road in Nairobi's Shauri Moyo area is our first stop, where this colossal pothole is a hindrance to motorists, with many making efforts to go around it, while others choose to push through the murky sewage waters.
Chafu zimejaa hapa hivi. So serikali kama kuna venye kusaidia. Hiyo sewage zimejaa. Hapa huwa tunaruhusiwa sewage na watoto bado wa shule wakipita hapa. Inakuwa ni shida kupita na kufanya kazi.
Within the same area, and just a stone's throw away, half of this road is strewn with garbage, obstructing motorists.
Hapa kenye natukasirisha sana sisi kama mayouth. Ni takataka inamwagwa hapa. Imefanya sana hata development hakuna.
Mvua ikinyesha na block gari hizi pita. Kama juzi hapa ilikuwa ni mto.
Such scenes are replicated in several other parts of Nairobi, such as Makadara, where many here complain that the rundown roads have a bearing on their livelihoods.
Magari zinakuja kwa hii barabara zinaanguka, tunachukua inakuwa kazi mingi. Mimi naomba tu serikali tuangalie tu sana. Mwanzo hii barabara yetu imetufungia kazi yetu.
Back in 2018, the Nairobi Disaster Management Unit had raised concerns that the lack of access to roads was one of the key challenges they faced during emergencies in informal settlements. This prompted the Nairobi Metropolitan Services to set aside a multi-million infrastructural upgrade in a plan by the national government to improve accessibility in these areas. But residents in neglected areas are calling on NMS to now salvage the situation. Gina Kirori, NTV.
All right, I'm sure many can relate to both sides of that story. Let's see if at all anything is done about it. And just briefly before we move on, a correction regarding the COVID numbers. The figures that you saw on your screens, apologies, were incorrect. But just to clarify that 72 more people have tested positive for the disease, and there have been 10 more deaths in the last 24 hours, with 3 recurring in the last month and 7 with late death reports, and the number of those who have died from the virus now stands at 3,013. So what I read out to you is the correct situation. All right, moving on now, and the Teachers Service Commission has started the biometric registration of teachers in counties selected for the pilot phase of the project. The aim is to address staffing challenges in learning centres and weed out ghost teachers. Our reporter Gabriel Kodaka has those details.
A number of teachers turned out at various designated centres across the country for day one of the biometric teacher registration exercise. The pilot program kicked off smoothly in most of the selected centres, including Nyeri, Bungoma and Uasin Gishu.
Turnout is very big. You can see that already. As per now, and this exercise is going up to the evening, this school alone has 31 teachers, and we have registered already 23. So I'm sure by the end of the day, we have captured. And it is very fast, because they are not using internet and there's no interruption.
School heads say the exercise will help identify and address the staffing challenges they face.
School like this with over 3,000 pupils, we have about 64 teachers. One would think we are very many, but with the number of pupils we have, now they are coming to terms to know that actually we are understaffed.
Those ones with physical disabilities have also been taken care of.
Those who are disadvantaged, they will not be left like that, but the commission will devise a method to make sure that their particulars are captured.
The biometric teacher registration was meant to kick off in May last year, but that could not kick off as schools had closed due to the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. TSC says eventually the program will cover the whole country.
We are picking every biodata about the teacher, from the date of birth to their KRA, from their transfers, their promotions, their levels of education.
The Commission says all the relevant measures have been put in place to protect the data. Gabriel Kudaka, NTV.
All right, we've got some breaking news just in that the governor of Wajir has been impeached. That is, Governor Mohammed Abdi Mohammed has been impeached. 25 senators voted to impeach the governor. 2 voted not to impeach the governor. So that is the latest news. Earlier, the Senate committee that had tried him found him guilty of 1 charge of gross violation of the Constitution by flouting the County Government Act, the Public Procurement Act and Asset Disposal Act, and the Public Finance Management Act that specifically touched on the healthcare system in the county. So now that is done and dusted. Let's see what comes of it and how he reacts. But the latest is that the Senate, 25 senators have voted to impeach the governor of Wajir and 2 voted against. More details on that as and when we get the developments. All right, now here's an interesting one. And the Rastafarian Society of Kenya has filed a petition in court seeking to decriminalize the use of cannabis sativa or marijuana in the country. Members of the society want the High Court to allow them to legally use bhang for spiritual, medicinal and environmental purposes. Our Coast reporter Kevin Mutai also reports that the society maintains that it is their right to protect all the indigenous seeds found in the country.
Many usually associate the Rastafarians to reggae music, but the Rastafarian Society does exist in the country. And they are now in a high-stakes legal battle for the decriminalization of marijuana on grounds that the plant is highly valuable to them.
Cannabis sativa, which is the marijuana, should be allowed for cultural, spiritual, and medicinal use for people who have been using it for many years.
They are required to use it for the purpose of manifesting their faith and creating that connection between themselves and their creator.
The society wants Kenya to join a list of African countries that have legalized use of marijuana. A section of politicians have even vouched for a law to legalize the industrial and medicinal use of cannabis sativa. This seeks to enact a legal and regulated framework that will even allow marijuana for commercial use.
The use goes to the extent of the smoking, the eating, the drinking, the use or the burning of incense or the bathing with marijuana, and also goes to the extent of allowing or seeking for the court to allow by making a declaration that the private growth and consumption of cannabis is by law not prohibited as far as the Rastafari Society of Kenya is concerned.
Watu wengi wakianza kutumia hiyo kitu, hata watoto wa shule leo hii watakuwa wakitumia, watatumia darani. Kulingana na vyojua wa Kenya, wengi wamekuwa na ile tabia ya ukorofi na kumekuwa na uhalifu mingi sana. Kwa hivyo kama bangi taramishwa iwe kwamba mtu anaweza ruhusiwa kuvuta bangi bila kuwa na tishio yote kutoka serikali, itakuwa ni hatari sana kwa usalama wa wananchi.
It is our right to protect all indigenous seeds which has been there since creation, and also to provide the knowledge on how to use it to improve the sufferation of humanity and of our environment today.
The society has sued the Attorney General on behalf of the government, claiming that their rights have been infringed on.
The push for use and growth of bang in the country is gaining steam as Rastafarians now depend on the legal channels to find their way. Kevin Mutai, NTV in Mombasa.
Valid sentiments or not? What are your thoughts on that particular issue? Send in your views to me at Smriti Vidyarthi or at NTV Kenya. We'd be interested to hear what you have to say. All right, you are watching the broadcast, but we've got to take a quick breather. Stay right where you are, because when we come back, I will be interviewing Raphael Tuju, the Secretary General of the Jubilee Party. We'll be discussing the BBI and much more. We'll be back in a moment.
Get fresh, gotta get fresh.
Downy's new boom boom pow, Downy boom boom pow. Smells bayana uchafuzi na zidi na improve Downy. Protect nguo zangu na nukia niko safi. Lazima niwe fresh na Downy's boom boom pow. Boom boom pow, Downy's new boom boom pow. Smells zote na zi boom boom pow. For freshness, Downy's boom boom pow. Nani 15 bob too?
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku. Pata offers zote mahali pamoja ili uongeze zaidi, utume SMS zaidi na ubrowse zaidi.
Wewe usijali. Tuma namba ya kila supplier kwa hiyo soko. Nitajuble nitaongea na kila mmoja wao.
Very good. Piga *444 hash utunukiwe Credo double.
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku.
Banki imeconfirm pesa zimeingia. Congratulations Sam, gari ni lako sasa.
Shukrani. Oi boss, si uniache insurance yako nitumie kabla nijipange.
Wah! Insurance ya gari haiwezi kuwa transferred kwa mtu mwingine.
Sina habari na nikuulize, hii comprehensive insurance ina cover vitu gani?
Comprehensive motor insurance ina cover gari linapoharibika wakati wa ajali pamoja na uharibifu wa mali ya mtu mwingine, gari likiibiwa au likichomeka. Pia ina cover passenger wa gari lako na passenger wa lile gari lingine kunapotokea ajali.
Kwani umenisahau mimi kama driver?
Dereva hakui covered na comprehensive insurance, ila anajitafutia personal accident cover.
Umenichanua. Rose, hata nishughulikie hiyo insurance, nitakujia gari kesho.
Okay, sawa.
Yeah.
Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwako na IRA. IRA, bima bora kwa taifa.
Whoever you choose as a partner along the way, no matter how, listen to your heart. Whose decisions are more important than yours? Never alone on this journey of yours. With you, each step of the way. All the way. Pay as you learn. Pay as you dine. Pay as you see the world. Pay your own way. The way ahead. Union Pay. Your way.
This looks different.
It is. See for yourself.
Okay, so it's a photo.
Look closer. Photos within photos.
What about video?
8K video. Beyond cinema quality.
So...
You can pull portrait quality photos straight from video.
But will it last the whole trip?
Battery for the whole trip and the way back.
This is different.
Told you.
Next on Ushirika, find us on the slopes of Mount Elgon in Bungoma County.
Mount Elgon Farmers Cooperative Union started in 1981. It is an apex organization of 18 cooperative societies.
Mount Elgon Farmers Cooperative Union has got an asset base of around 120 million.
We've been able to give 70 million to 18 affiliate societies within the union.
Hii kahawa kila mwaka imeweza kuniwezesha kulipa school fees ya watoto wangu.
Make a date with us this Tuesday at 6:45 p.m. on NTV.
Our brand new gated community project, Happy Gardens in Kitengela. You matter to us. Pay 800k on any of our projects and get 20k cashback. PAP. Call us now on 0790 300 300.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Before we get into that interview, let's bring you the latest situation regarding COVID-19 in Tanzania, and the country is set to begin recording the number of COVID-19 infections. This after President Samia committed to ensuring a task force was formed to look into the COVID-19 situation. She also committed to adhering with the recommendations, which included that Tanzania be part of the COVAX facility to allow it to request for the COVID-19 vaccine. This in turn will see willing citizens receive their vaccines as a preventative measure against the virus. The task force asserted that the vaccines recommended by the WHO are safe. The government of Tanzania is also set to put in place contingency and response measures across the country to help curb the spread of the virus.
Tangu kuingia kwa ugonjwa wa COVID-19 nchini mwezi Machi 2020, Tanzania imekumbwa na mawimbi mawili makubwa, na hivi sasa kutokana na mwenendo wa ugonjwa huo katika mataifa mengine duniani kuna tishio la kutokea kwa wimbi la tatu hapa nchini. Hata hivyo, kamati imebaini kuwa mwamko wa kudhibiti wimbi la kwanza ulikuwa mkubwa ukilinganishwa na wimbi la pili. Hivyo kamati imeshauri kuimarisha kasi kudhibiti tishio la wimbi la tatu.
All right, now to our interview, and the BBI train has stalled. Let's get more on what exactly is going on and what this means. Joining me now is the Jubilee Party Secretary General, Raphael Tuju. Thanks so much for being with us on NTV Tonight. As Secretary General of the Jubilee Party, what was your immediate reaction to that BBI ruling?
Well, in some respects disappointing, but also in some respects I think it is an exhibition of the maturity of our democracy, that we can have a situation in which the courts can make their ruling. We respect, even if we don't agree. And then fortunately in this country we do have the possibility that we can appeal. So there are still two levels that we can deal with, where we can have the Court of Appeal to deal with it, or the Supreme Court deal with it, and of course the Court of Kenyan Opinion.
All right, now
the Court of Public Opinion, rather.
All right. President Uhuru Kenyatta had been very vocal as one of the main proponents in pushing for the support of the BBI. But since that ruling, we haven't heard from him. Why not? And when are we likely to, or when is he likely to break his silence?
Well, the president is the president of the whole country, and it's wise that he should listen to legal advice from his legal advisors before he talks about this, because when it comes to the courts, we have to navigate very carefully. But the judges who ruled on this matter and even insinuated that the president has no say on this matter, I would call it selective reading of our Constitution. Because in Article 10 of the Constitution, the president has the responsibility for national unity. That is his responsibility. And he has to work towards ensuring national unity. And I like to say, for example, that, this judicial activism has led to civil wars in other countries. And one of the countries where judicial activism of this type led to civil war is the United States of America. What is famously known as the ruling of, I think, Dred Scott versus Sanford. Those judges thought that they knew better than the statesmen who had brought some kind of agreement between the North and the South. The moment the judges ignored that, the tension in the country increased, and the country went to the worst civil war in the United States in the mid of 1980s or thereabout.
So what is it that you're implying in this
when you know
case?
that,
what is it that you're implying by saying
I'm getting a lot of echo. I'm getting a lot of echo. I don't know if I should remove one of the
All right, you can try.
One of the earpieces.
You can try do that, and as you do that, I'll just repeat my question by giving us that example of judicial activism in the U.S. What are you implying in the Kenyan context?
It's rather obvious, and in fact, after 2017 elections and about 2016, I remember activist Professor David D making some very passionate arguments for secession movement in this country. And in fact, after the elections in 2017, he made serious remarks, and several other people made very toxic remarks about dividing this country into two. Yet the president's responsibility is to do everything to keep the country together.
All right, just back to my first question. Are we likely to hear from the president himself at any point, or what might he be waiting for now?
I don't speak for him, as you know.
All right. Well, perhaps he has shared with you, but you're unable to share with us now. On the issue of judicial activism, of course, the judgment on the BBI was a landmark ruling that has far-reaching political ramifications and implementations, but we have lately seen a major tug-of-war and push and pull and disagreements between the judiciary and President Uhuru Kenyatta. Do you see this as a case of the judiciary hitting back at the president? Do you read malice into this ruling?
If you consider some of the things that were said during the ruling, it's a bit worrying. I mean, when I refer to the judges as honorable judges, and if I face judges at any time, as I've faced before, I refer to them as my lords. They were not courteous to the president.
All right, but they had valid concerns, and therefore they made this judgment. So is it a matter of basing this on the law or basing this on being courteous to President Uhuru Kenyatta?
They should base it on the law, and one of the laws that they ignored, or at least a constitutional premise that they ignored, is that it is the president's responsibility to bring national unity according to Article 10, and it is not prescribed how he should do it. So whether he does it by running across the country, or he does it through BBI, or he does it through any other actions of reconciliation across the political divide, it is his singular most important responsibility as president to keep this country together, and especially after we have the history of 2007 post-election violence. We have unfortunate cases like the death of baby Pendo, and when I see some political leaders celebrating this ruling, it's like they are dancing on the graves of the victims of post-election violence.
Are you referring to any political leaders in particular?
No, I'm just saying that those who are celebrating this, they are like dancing on the graves of those who have died during political violence in this country. This is not just a legal matter. This is a question of getting political settlements. And the BBI is part of that. What the courts should be doing is to be helping the process, not breaking the process.
Yet you say that you still respect the decision by the court.
Of course, we have to respect the decision of the court, but we cannot afford to fear the court.
So in the instance that perhaps these appeals that we're going to see during the week don't turn out in favor of the BBI, what then? How might the Jubilee Party take action?
That's hypothetical.
It's a valid question, though, because it will swing one way or the other. Do you have a game plan
but still,
if the BBI does not sail through? Are you confident, firstly, that it will?
It's still hypothetical. We'll cross the bridge when we get there because there's still the Supreme Court.
All right, speaking about the bridge, at this point, do you reckon it's battered and bruised?
Not at all. Not at all. I think, as I told you, that one of the things that I celebrate about this kind of ruling is that it tests our institutions. If it was some of the failed African states, there'll be military vehicles on the roads of Nairobi. But we are mature enough. We were able to overcome the challenges of the Supreme Court ruling that nullified the elections in 2017. The president acted in a most mature manner, and he's being congratulated all over the world for the kind of response that he gave to this particular challenge.
What do you say to those who believe that the BBI was simply a ploy to hoodwink Raila Odinga, the other proponent behind the document, and that he's merely just being strung along?
There are always conspiracy theories, especially in the political arena. You'll get enough of that. It doesn't bother me.
Do you have a response to it?
Well, if it's nonsensical, you really don't need to respond to it, because there will be all kinds of hypothetical issues and his conspiracy theories. I think that the president and former prime minister are very, very focused on this matter of bringing the country together. And it is important that we bring the country together. We can't afford to have this country break into pieces. The elections in 2017 and even the elections in 2013 and previous ones, you know, the divide is almost 50-50.
All right, you've spoken a lot about the country potentially falling back into chaos, but why do you think that? Why do you think that if things don't go one way, we might see military vehicles on the streets of Nairobi, as you said? What's the reason for that? No. Why do you think it'll get so dangerous?
No, I didn't say that. I just say that in non-democratic countries across Africa, if that sort of thing was to happen, then you'll see the vehicles on the streets from the military. But that is not something that we think of in this country in that respect. But let me just give you an example. I mean, 2 or 3 months ago, maybe 2, I was hosting MCAs from Baringo County. One of the MCAs could not cross from the northern part of Baringo to come to Nairobi through Nakuru because of the ethnic differences in that particular county. She had to go all the way past to Samburu, Nyahururu, then Gilgil, then Nairobi, and on the way back do exactly the same. We are a geographical phenomenon in that respect. We have many nationalities, many tribes, and the challenge we have is to forge a nationhood out of the very diverse nations that we have in this country, or tribes, if you like to call it that way.
But are you essentially saying that without the BBI, we don't have much hope?
What I'm saying is that we need a rapprochement across the political divide, and BBI was that political settlement. It was actually some sort of ceasefire, because before that particular handshake, if you can call it that way, some Kenyans were talking about secession. In fact, the loudest voice on secession was David Ndii. It is on record. On this media station, on Nation TV, it is on record how he was talking, how this country should be cut into pieces, like Shamba. And for people who are at the level of judges not to understand the dynamics and the challenges that we have and make rulings as if we're in a vacuum situation, they don't appreciate the challenges that we're having, then it's a little bit immature. I mean, the independence of the judiciary being a fact to consider or not.
But surely the BBI is not the be-all and end-all. Without the document sailing through, we won't necessarily end up where you or others believe that we might end up.
We've had ethnic clashes after every election since the 1990s. It's now more than 30 years that has happened. In 2007, 1,300 people were killed. In 2013, we didn't have it. I think the memory of 2007 was still fresh. The matter of ICC was in the backdrop. In 2017, we had situations that an innocent child like baby Pendo died, and a few others.
All right.
Now, we cannot continue with that sort of political reality that has featured in the last 30 years.
All right, we will
and
also,
we should not.
Based on your comments earlier, no doubt we will give David Ndii that right to reply.
He has a right. He has a right to reply.
Correct. All right. Now there are plenty of concerns about the timelines, that the elections may not happen in 2022, or if they do, and if we head to a referendum, the referendum might take place at the same time. Can you shed some light on that?
No, I can't. That's the business of Parliament.
All right, that's fine. My final question to you is that many argue that the government is so focused on the BBI, an issue that many Kenyans countrywide perhaps don't even know about, perhaps don't care about, because they have other pressing issues. Why do you reckon that Kenyans feel the government is focused on politics rather than the issues that touch their hearts on a day-to-day basis? For example, COVID-19 and the issues of the economy.
I think it's not the government which is focused on politics. It's the people of Kenya who are focused on politics, and our media organizations. I'm not shifting the blame. I'm not shifting. I'm just telling the reality. You know, just to talk about your media house, for example, if you allow me, I know I'm taking a risk here. The stories which sell for the media houses are the political stories. That's a reality that you cannot deny. So Kenyans love their politics.
But that's not a reason for the government to focus so much on politics rather than addressing issues that face the people of Kenya that are more pressing. Whether Kenyans love politics or not is one thing, but it's up to the government to do what's right for the people.
No, I think you are completely getting it wrong.
In what
respect? The government is focusing, in respect that you, the media people, focus on politics. Government, in many cases, like right now, the schools have reopened in the face of COVID. If you look at the COVID response as far as this country is concerned, the story which you've just featured on COVID in Tanzania, I mean, our response to the issue of COVID is one of the best in the region, if not in Africa. I think we responded even better than the United States.
All right, I get you. So you're saying
when you look at if you look at the number of roads, if you look at the number, let me just finish it. If you look at the number of roads which have been tarmacked in this country in the last 10 years, it is more than the number of roads which were tarmacked in the previous 40 years. So really, government is really focused on development, but you'll not get a coverage of that because that is not selling your papers.
All right, I understand the point
So
you are making. Okay, well, something that no doubt we have the right to reply to as well, perhaps not from me.
Yes.
Final question. Actually, on the issue of disciplinary action, the committee at the Jubilee Party meets every Monday to deliberate on party issues. We have seen Mr. Mwaura lose his seat for apparently siding with UDA. Are we likely to see more people on the chopping board? Are you tolerating any of that?
First of all, the issue of chopping board is a bit extreme, eh? Let me tell you, we don't enjoy victimizing our members. We really would like to have a good relationship with them. We need more members. We don't want to throw away members. But when a member has decided that they're going to campaign for another party, the Political Parties Act itself does not allow that. It is illegal. They should lose their seats automatically. I think we've been extremely tolerant.
Okay, all right. I'm afraid...
Can I say one more thing? Can I say one more thing?
You may, briefly.
Yes, I mean, this whole issue of independence of the judiciary. I like members of the judiciary and even Parliament and the executive for that matter, that it is more mature to talk about interdependence. That is where the rest of the democracies are. That is where the rest of the world is at the moment. So every time you talk about independence, it's like my children when they were teenagers. Each time they're saying, Baba, I'm independent. I have to make my own decisions. In the afternoon, they ask for money to go to the mall.
All right. You just bring up one more issue. The NCCK today said that what needs to happen is that the president and the judiciary need to meet and discuss. There needs to be a dialogue. Is that a likelihood in your view, based on the situation?
Well, I like this country for one thing. You can make your suggestions, you can make your opinions known, and we welcome any opinions of any type. And then they can be evaluated, and if it makes sense, then we can follow through. Nobody has got a monopoly of intelligence.
All right, well, let's hope
we are a little bit more humble. We're a little bit more humble than the judges who say, this is what it is, period. If you don't like it, too bad, period. They should also learn the word interdependence, because as soon as they finish the ruling, they need the policemen to escort them home as guards, as drivers, and so forth. The world is much more complicated.
All right, so many more questions, but not enough time. Thank you so much for joining us on NTV Tonight. Raphael Tuju, the Secretary General of the Jubilee Party, much appreciated. All right, that was my conversation with the Sec-Gen on the BBI and other issues related to the Jubilee Party. We've got to take a quick breather on NTV Tonight. Stay with us. Julian Zamboko is coming up next with the business news.
I would have sworn the roof was green.
Aish, yenyewe, hiyo roof imeparara. Hiyo sio green. I think we are lost. Mike, hakuna roof ya green hapa?
Ole, watu potea jumeparara.
Mike. Hey, this roof looks amazing, eh?
It's the same CoverMax roof I've always had. It has never let me down.
And nakaka juicy by the way, eh?
Get CoverMax. It's more than just a roof. It's color that lasts with advanced color technology.
Unaona jenga lini?
Tulia Joe, unaniwekea pressure tena.
Ile time utadecide kujenga cha kupeleka kwa dealer wa MRM.
Si lazima.
Ukiweka, umeweka. CoverMax, a quality product from MRM.
Hot 10T is the latest Infinix smartphone with super fast and smooth display with 90 GHz refresh rate, 48 megapixel clearest camera with a nightscape image performance for good photos, even at night. Enjoy smooth and fast gaming experience supported by Helio G70 on Hot 10T. Stay on power with Hot 10T, 5000 mAh super large batteries. Buy Hot 10T now in all Infinix outlets countrywide. You'll get exclusive gifts, 2.5 GB Safaricom data for free, and also have a chance to win Infinix Smart TV.
There you go. Okay, thank you.
Hi there. Selena, it's great seeing you getting so much value for your money.
Well, it's important to save as much as you can.
You save everywhere. Except for here. This is where you're throwing money down the drain.
How?
On these cleaning products.
Impossible.
Harpic 10X. While other cleaners flow away, Harpic 10X's viscous formula in only one round of application gives you sparkling, clean toilet. Harpic, 10 times better cleaning than other cleaning products.
And great savings too.
The principal, Eldoret Technical Training Institute, ETTI, wishes to inform all continuing students that learning has resumed in all courses. May and September intakes are ongoing. Join us today and pursue your career at higher diploma, certificate level in the following programs: engineering, building and construction, business administration and commerce, agriculture and animal health, tourism and hospitality management, education, social studies, information communication technology, accounting, banking and finance, medical and health sciences, journalism and mass communication. Apply now. SMS your details to the numbers on your screen. Eldoret Technical Training Institute. Growing reputation.
Like every mother, I'm worried about dangerous insects, especially mosquitoes, which spread diseases like malaria to my loved ones. This year, I'm not afraid. I'm using Mortein Doom. Mortein Doom All Insect Killer provides protection in seconds. Not even a single mosquito is spared, because even one mosquito bite can cause malaria. Mortein Doom provides protection in seconds.
Tips on fighting malaria. Use Mortein Doom insecticide regularly. Sleep under long-lasting insecticidal mosquito net. Clear blocked drains and get rid of stagnant water.
This public message is brought to you by Mortein Doom. Zero malaria starts with me.
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku. Pata offers zote mahali pamoja ili uongee zaidi, utume SMS zaidi na ubrowse zaidi.
Wewe usijali. Tuma namba ya kila supplier kwa hiyo soko. Ndio nitaongea na kila mmoja wao.
Very good. Piga *444 asi utunukiwe Credo double.
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku.
It is time to get down to business. Welcome. I am Julian Amboko. Kenya's plan to have the standard gauge railway run from Mombasa to Malaba has been dealt a body blow following Uganda's deal with the Chinese firm to revamp its meter gauge railway from Kampala to Malaba. This means that there is no incentive to expand Kenya's SGR from Naivasha to Malaba. Kenya's SGR currently stretches from Mombasa to Naivasha. Initial plans have been to have it link up with Uganda's SGR in the hopes of taking goods by rail on a single track all the way to Rwanda. With Uganda choosing to remain on the meter gauge standard, Kenya is left with no choice but to devise a mechanism that will see goods destined for Uganda and beyond transferred from the SGR to the meter gauge railway in Naivasha once the rehabilitation of the Naivasha-Malaba MGR line is complete. Uganda has forked out 5 billion Kenya shillings to revamp the 260-kilometer Kampala-Malaba meter gauge track. And staying with matters infrastructure, President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected in the Coast region later this week for the official commissioning of the Port of Lamu. The president will host other regional heads of state in witnessing the first 2 cargo vessels dock at the port. According to the Kenya Ports Authority, 1 berth will be made operational as construction of the remaining 20 berths continues. Here's Kevin Mutai with more details on the preparations, of the historic occasion.
The second batch of equipment have been transferred from the Port of Mombasa to Lamu ahead of the commissioning of the Port of Lamu on the 20th of May 2021. Some of the equipment ferried include 2 rubber-tired gantries and a mobile Kenya Revenue Authority scanner, which are critical in port operations. The vessel carrying the machines arrived in Lamu on Monday afternoon.
We have planned to add 2 harbour mobile cranes, which should be in Lamu before the end of this month. Once those 2 are in Lamu, that is a game changer, because then it means we shall not restrict the nature of the type of vessel coming to the Port of Lamu. It will be any ship, that is ship with gear or gearless ship.
2 cargo vessels are expected to complete their maiden voyage to the Port of Lamu on Thursday this week. A 204-meter-long ship christened MV Carmel from Denmark will be arriving with general cargo from the Port of Dar es Salaam before proceeding to Salala in Oman. MV Seago Bremenhaven from Mombasa, which is ferrying avocado and other items, is also expected to arrive in Lamu in the presence of President Uhuru Kenyatta and other leaders from the East African region. Hundreds of containers will be offloaded and will be transported via road to various destinations, with Ethiopia and South Sudan being the major clientele. Geofencing of Mombasa-Lamu Road is also complete. Lamu to Moyale is still underway.
A number of shipping companies have confirmed that they are going to be operating from here. And the bulk of the activities are looking at transshipment, but also, in addition, they're also looking at dealing with the local cargo.
The Port of Lamu is expected to be a competitive hub for transshipment, with the Kenya Ports Authority revealing that incentives have already been offered to importers and other users of the facility so as to attract business.
Kila kitu kitayari, salama upo, barabara ziko wazi, matayarisho mengine kama meli kuja na kuleta zile lift zile gantry cranes za kubeba mizigo, yote inaendelea kufanyika.
The Port of Lamu will connect Kenya, Ethiopia and South Sudan, as it will also ensure economic growth of the northern parts of the country. Kevin Mutai, NTV in Mombasa.
And on to the financial services space, Britam has launched a COVID-19 cover for its policyholders aged below 75 years. The cover will take care of hospitalization expenses arising from COVID-19 and will be subject to the limit of the cover. The premiums range in price from 1,500 shillings per month for a 50,000 shilling cover up to 14,700 shillings per month for a 500,000 shilling cover. Those above the age of 60 can only purchase up to a maximum limit of 200,000 shillings. This cover comes with a waiting period of 14 days from the date of commencement of the policy. And that takes us to the close of business. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.